4th and goal to go to 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
Here is Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
Once again, unfortunately, Dable did say, he's doubtful. He's going on the trip, Thomas is. He's going on the trip, okay? So that's a little bit of hope, okay? But, the thing is, to go from, having a day off and then participating in practice a couple days and then having another day off and then there's like a Sunday game and so he's not playing and then you have a Monday off. It's really hard to start really ramping up, getting in game condition. Basically that's what he's going to have to wind up doing. Get some practice and all that stuff and everything, and all of a sudden, boom, he's going to be out there for 60 snaps playing. So obviously I'm sure they're going to. When he gets in there, they'll have, I don't know if they'll put him in there for 3 drives and then they'll put Hudson in there or somebody else in there for a drive and then Thomas back, or they'll play him for a quarter and then pull him out or whatever. Or they'll just put him in there and see how he feels. We'll have to wait and see. But, he's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy. Because you're going from just participating in practice or, practicing, to playing a full game. It's good luck there, buddy. But Dable said he did participate in practice. Obviously, Dable says all the time, he's getting better. He's getting better. So he's getting better. Hopefully, maybe, possibly against the Chiefs, right? But just the way it seems, Thomas is unfortunately going to be doubtful for this game coming up. And the Giants did bring up 2 guys from the practice squad. Once again, Elijah Garcia, who didn't do too bad, not too shabby in week 1 against the Commanders. Didn't do too bad. And they got Bozeman. They brought Rico Suave Bozeman up from the practice squad as well, too. Now, linebacker, right? Now, they elevated them. Now, it doesn't not necessarily going to mean that he's going to get a jersey, but, obviously, they elevated him. So we'll have to wait and see. But with McFadden obviously going on IR, they do need to get another. Would behoove them to have another linebacker. Okay, on the 53. So that would be Bozeman for this week. Now obviously, Bozeman would be big in the special teams area, right? But the Giants have a couple guys, nicked up and all of that. Surprisingly, the Cowboys do too. Right, which really might help the Giants in the passing game, if you know what I mean. Let's see where we at here. All right. Okay, this is the Giants. Okay. All right, now Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles, linebacker, he's out. Right, another reason why they brought up Bozeman. He's got a calf. He did not participate in practice. All right, so he's out. Andrew Thomas is doubtful. Right, with his foot, he's limited participation in practice. So he's doubtful. So once again, if you got doubtful, there's a really good chance you're not playing. Right. Then we got Nacho, who's doubtful. So, two of our a couple studs on the, obviously Andrew Thomas is much more of a stud than Nacho is, but a couple of the guys on the offensive defensive line are doubtful. So Nacho, he's got a foot. So be interesting to see, right? Obviously they kind of like what Garcia brought to the table last week. So we have Sexy. Let's see if Garcia gets more snaps. Okay. This week than he did last week, especially with Nacho being out. But Garcia didn't do too bad, right? Wan'Dale Robinson is questionable. He has an ankle. He caught 6 passes on 8 targets for 55 yards last week. So basically, between him and Malik, they were a good portion of the passing, right? Giants passing yards, receptions, and all from last week. So, but Wan'Dale, Malik has got his back. I mean, he has no designation. It's just going he's a little tightness or whatever. But with his toe, his back, but he's good to go. Darius Slayton, he has a groin. So basically, our top 3 wide receivers, our best left tackle, our best offensive lineman, and our 3 wide receivers all got some kind of injury problem. Hard to believe, I know, for the Giants, but yeah, it is. Darius Slayton's got a groin, but he has no injury designation, so he'll be playing. And Mike McFadden, he's out with his foot. Dexter Lawrence, he took some. Obviously, he wound up taking some senior days off or whatever you want, veteran days off as they call them, right? But he'll be ready to go. But the Giants, have a couple of injuries. And I'm sure after this game's over, they'll have even more injuries. It's just the way it is with the Giants. It's amazing how some teams don't get injured and the Giants just keep getting injured. Simply amazing. But with the Cowboys, okay, Cowboys they do have a couple of issues here. Here we go. Is this it? Am I going to be able to injury report? Okay, Deron Bland, he's out. Their cornerback with a foot. So that's going to be huge, right? Malik Hooker, the safety, right? He has a foot. Now, apparently, as of right now, Bland is out. Malik Hooker, Thomas, their other safety, he had something personal, but Hooker is a foot. Now, if you're a safety, anybody, actually any player, right, with a problem with a foot, we'll have to keep an eye on that without question. But Deron Bland, who's out, that certainly can help, obviously, the Giants in their passing game. So, but we did know, we obviously we knew that Mike McFadden on injury reserve, and of course, Andrew Thomas. Hopefully, he'll be in there. Hopefully, within the next week or two. Hopefully, if the Giants really thought, okay, that Andrew Thomas was going to miss any length of time with injury, right? They probably would have put him on injury reserve maybe before the season started or whatever. We'd have to miss the first 4 games, but he wouldn't count toward the 53-man roster, right? All right, and so the Giants elevated 2 guys from the practice squad, Elijah Garcia and Swaze Bozeman, right? Giants are elevating defensive tackle Elijah Garcia and Swaze Bozeman from the practice squad for Sunday's game against the Cowboys. This is the second straight elevation for Garcia. He played 6 snaps last week against the Commanders with 1 tackle. Defensive tackle Nacho is doubtful with a foot injury he apparently suffered in practice this week. Bozeman was elevated to give the Giants linebacker some depth. Micah McFadden was placed on the IR this week with a foot injury, with his place on the 53-man roster taken by wide receiver kick returner Xavier Gipson. Linebacker Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles has already been ruled out due to a calf injury he aggravated in practice during the week. Bozeman played in 3 games for the Chiefs last season after going undrafted out of Southern Mississippi. He played 7 defensive snaps and 57 special team snaps for the Chiefs last season. Left tackle Andrew Thomas made the trip, though. Thomas, still recovering from his 2024 Liz Frank injury, is listed as doubtful to make his season debut. So I said, just hoping, really, really hoping that, it's either going to be next week or against the Chargers. Benjamin! Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, with Andrew Thomas quite possibly being out, right? Hudson had his issues. He had his issues. At left tackle. Be interesting to see if he continues to struggle. Maybe we might see Bo in there. We'll have to wait and see. But the interior of the just really was not good. Now, what have you ever listened to Big Blue Kickoff live? I try to listen. They're live like around 1 or 2 o'clock, but they tape their shows, so you can always watch it on YouTube or whatever. But they go live Monday through Friday. Well, one of the things they were talking about, they mentioned a lot, is that like the interior of the Giants' offensive line was not too good, but they're also bringing up to the fact that Dean Quinn, the coach of the Commanders, who was the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys for a couple of years there. When we were going up against the Cowboys with Quinn in there, I mean, we had a hard time stopping it. The stunts and twists and all. I mean, he's just really, really good. I think he was with the Legion of Boom, if I'm not mistaken, too, with Seattle. So, Quinn's really good at dialing stuff up, right? So we had problems when Quinn was with the Cowboys. We had problems when this past week, against the Commanders. So he's really, really good at dialing stuff up. So, we gotta get the pocket. Easier said than done. Keep it clean, but you don't want to get pushed into Wilson because he can't see. He's 5'11". You get these 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" guys getting pushed into you. You can't see down the field, and if they get too close to you, you can't have a hard time releasing the ball, right? But I mean, if we can't, open up the inside, I mean, I have a real hard time, getting some yardage. I mean, look at that Cam Scatterboo. I mean, the one he had, I think he ran Bo over. I mean, he got the ball and he's like running into guys like in his backfield already. It's like, I mean, these guys need some space. I mean, Tracy last year got some good yards. I mean, he got some, but it wasn't like when Tracy got the ball, he ran one guy over and he plowed another guy over, got into the second level, put a juke on a couple of guys and when he got the ball, he made a move here or there, right? Found a crease, found a hole, and he was off and running, But if you can't give him a crease, a little hole, anything, I mean, we had like 15 carries for 30 yards last week. I mean, and the one thing is the biggest thing is that the Giants always have a hard time, starting the game off strong, getting some points, right, getting the lead, and then maybe being able to dictate it. What you're going to do to the other team. A lot of times the other team gets the lead and they can dictate what they're going to do, the Giants, right? So then it makes it so much harder, right? If you have to pass the ball, it makes it even that much harder, right? And one thing the Cowboys are probably going to do, they're going to probably put up some points against the Giants, right? So if they start putting some points up and we start getting down by 2 scores or whatever, and you have to throw the ball, it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. So, but I mean, we definitely, got the offensive line, definitely. You really thought because they brought back all the guys from last year. So you really thought that, or they thought anyway, that they had a respectable offensive line because they brought back everybody, right? Andrew Thomas, John Runyon, right? John Michael Schmitz, Greg Van Roten, and Illuminor, right? So, but the offensive line's got to do much better. I mean, a lot of things got to go a lot better, but the offensive line. I said we've always seem to have problems with the Cowboys too. I always remember there was that one thing, and it's funny, it was true. I think it was the game we lost 40-0. I think it was because once you're down 3,000-0, you can't run the ball. You have to pass the ball, pass. So, Daniel Jones was dropping back, and the Cowboys are pinning their ears back and just going. I think he got sacked 6 times. I think something like that. He got hit like 800 times. Well, there's a video. I guess it was maybe on national TV or whatever it was, but one of the Cowboys' defensive linemen was standing in front of the other guys, right? So the camera's behind the bench. So almost all the Cowboys, they have their backs to the camera, except for this one guy who's in the front, looking at his guys. He's like, you get a sack, and you get a sack. He's like Oprah Winfrey, and you get a sack, and you get a sack. Like, I said a little while ago, we lost like two 1-score games last year to the Cowboys. Right? Be very, very interesting to see. I mean, are we closing the gap or are we getting even worse?